We'll move on to the other news, and this one now. It was released, the GAA Go schedule for 2024. That was released, and obviously has immediately stirred up a bit of the headlines there. I saw your TikTok just before we came on live here as well. And just talking through this, the GAA Go schedule for 2024, immediately debate has kicked off on it again.
And mainly, Seamus, the debate is because of Cork GAA. And Cork GAA fans are very, very unhappy about this. And obviously, I am a Cork fan. I have to speak about this, Cork journalist with Southern Star and stuff like that as well. So I kind of have to speak on their behalf, really. So 4 of the Munster Hurling Championship games for Cork, out of them 4, 3 out of the 4 are shown at GAA Go. So that'll be behind the paywall. It won't be on RTE. And basically, Cork fans will have to stop up the money for GAA Go or else go to the game itself, which will probably be full capacity, knowing the Munster Hurling Championship. It's an absolutely brilliant competition. And 3 of those games for Cork being put behind the paywall are as follows. Waterford away. So Walsh Park is tiny. So to pay money for GAA Go there is absolutely scandalous, in my opinion, many other people's as well. The home game against Clare, put behind the paywall. And Clare, obviously, Munster finalists, all Ireland semi-finalists. That's a huge game facing against Tony Kelly, Shane O'Donnell. That's put behind GAA Go, the paywall. And obviously, Cork against the All-Ireland champions, Limerick, Parky Keith, is also put behind the paywall as well. So the only game that Cork fans will see free to air is the Tipperary game. And that I think is the last game of the Munster Championship. So I don't know, will it be live on RTE? Will it be on RTE Player? It could be on RTE Player. And you know the scandal with RTE Player, like the streaming difficulties with that as well. So Cork fans could feel rightly aggrieved. And not just because of the hurling as well. The football games, no, the Limerick game, the Cork Limerick game is not going to be televised apparently for the Munster Championship, and probably rightly so, because 2 of those sides are Division 3, Division 2, and no one will probably watch them. But if Cork are to get past Limerick, their game against All-Ireland finalist Kerry in Killarney is also put on GAA Go as well, the Munster semi-final. So that's 4 out of 5 games that Cork will 4 out of 6 games that Cork will definitely have between football and hurling put behind the GAA Go paywall. The 2 remaining ones one are probably on the RT Player, most likely, and the other is not being shown live, Cork and Limerick in the football. So Cork fans could feel really, really hard done by this. And I've watched GAA Go. I think it's good coverage in fairness. There's good presenters, Crawley McIlwain, Mark O'Shea's a good analyst, Paddy Andrews, Michael Murphy, Owen Cadigan, Ashton O'Reilly's a superb sideline reporter. Dave McIntyre is a brilliant commentator. They're absolutely brilliant journalists, in fairness to them, and brilliant analysts. The problem is, imagine an old age pensioner paying for GAA Go in Cork now. They have to do it. Like 3 out of 4 games for one county. I think it's scandalous, to be honest with you, Seamus. It really is. I think it reeks of it's really, really poor from the GAA to, go in on one county like this. And it's not just because I'm a Cork fan. You look at this, 4 of the 6 out of football and hurling being shown behind the paywall and Dan Casey described this on TikTok earlier today, it is a joke. It's a disgrace. Yeah. It really is for Cork GAA fans. And another thing as well, according to the GAA Go schedule, which I seen on John Folkley's article in the Irish Examiner, check that out if you haven't already. He came up with the news earlier on today. 2 All-Ireland quarterfinals are yet again going to be shown behind the paywall on GAA Go. Look, I've no qualms again with GAA Go, but I think All-Ireland quarterfinals in football should be free to air. They simply should be free to air. They should be put on TG Car, Virgin Media, RT. Even the 4 quarterfinals being put on RT. Imagine, like we were watching a live stream last year, Seamus, in last year's championship, and Kerry and Tyrone and Monaghan and Armagh were both put behind the GAA Go paywall. And there was a lot of, outrage over that. Danny Healy-Rae was even talking the Dáil. You could expect a lot more. Imagine Donald Cusack's anger right now at seeing this GAA Go pictures. It's going to cause a lot of...
We're speaking in December 4th, and I can confidently say that the GAA Go stuff is going to pop up all over 2024. Like, from seeing the schedule now, it's going to be... We're going to talk about it a lot in the next season. You just wonder as well when you're looking at it, because it does seem ridiculously harsh on one county. You just wonder, did they look at this when they put it together, or did they just pick a few games and not really think who was going to be in them? like, why was it so tilted towards Cork? And look, I genuinely am, I saw your post, I saw the games, but I haven't done an in-depth research in it. So I will ask you this. How does that measure up to other counties? Like, for example, are there any other counties who are coming even close to getting hit this hard by it?
I'm trying to look at it now. Like, I'll look at the full list here. Galway and Mayo in the first 2 games are shown, but that's London and New York. So obviously that wouldn't be shown really on RTE. The next game after that, Kildare, Westmeath, Wicklow. Okay, but at least they're getting shown on TV. They rarely get shown on RTE anyway. Kerry against Cork or Limerick in the Munster Football Championship. Then Waterford against Cork. Antrim against Wexford in the Leinster Hurling Championships. Also shown behind the GAA Go paywall. You have an Ulster semi-final being shown on GAA Go. That's Armagh against Down most likely. Then you have the Leinster football semi-finals. But the thing is, I think the Leinster quarter-final, which Dublin are involved in, is apparently going to be shown on RTE, because I don't see it on the GAA Go list here as well. So maybe it's tilted in favour of Dublin. And Dan Casey actually mentioned it on TikTok. I don't want to say this.
No, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm a Dub, but I mean, I'm not a biased Dub, and yeah, it sadly wouldn't surprise me if the capital wasn't getting put behind the paywall. Are there any Dublin games there that are behind the paywall?
I'm trying to look at hurling or football. There's obviously the Leinster Senior Football Championship semi-finals, which Dublin will obviously make, because Leinster football is very, very one-sided. I'm trying to look at hurling games here. There is Dublin Kilkenny on May 18th. That's the next one in the Leinster Hurling Championship.
The hurling isn't as supported as the football, though. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the hurling's behind the paywall, but the football, I'd be pretty surprised if they put any of Dublin's games behind the paywall.
Definitely. And
make no mistake, Matthew, whatever quarter-final Dublin are in, that's the one that's going to be on RTE. like that day. So if you want to see your team play on RTE for free, you better hope they draw the All-Ireland champions.
Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it, Seamus? But the thing is as well, I think the All-Ireland, I'm looking at the date for the All-Ireland quarterfinals, it's June 29th. I'd wonder if that's a Saturday or Sunday, because it was a Saturday last year. So would that mean if it's Dublin, other than last year, I don't know if it's just me, but Dublin always used to play an All-Ireland quarterfinal on a Saturday. Did you always kind of notice that? Other than the Mayo game, obviously, last year?
A little bit. I do remember the Tyrone quarterfinals were on a Saturday. I do remember that.
That's definitely one as well. And another actually very good fixture being put behind the GAA Go paywall, not just Cork and hurling. Waterford and Tipperary in Walsh Park is also put behind the GAA Go paywall. So that's 2 Waterford games as well. I think, like, judging by this, I think most of the Limerick games and Clare games are going to be shown on RTE. Tipperary as well. Waterford to an extent, and Cork have got the rare, solace treatment in many ways. It's very, very poor in general. Like, a Tailteann Cup game is being shown. And another thing actually brought up by Enda Rowland, the Laois hurling goalkeeper, this is not enough games being shown on GAA Go. There's a lot of Tailteann Cup games being shown, but there's no Joe McDonagh Cup games. It only seems to be the final on RTE. So is that an issue too?
I think when you're looking at this, I think the reality is that I think people took for granted what TV3 showed, and I think people took for granted what Sky Sports then showed. The reality is that, especially adding in the Tailteann Cup, look, when TV3 didn't show the game, when TV3 was showing the games, there was nowhere near as many games. And the reality is that by showing the 2 quarterfinals, it was still on free-to-air TV. A lot of people still weren't that aware of how many games were there to be shown. Because remember, in the qualifiers, if you got knocked out, you were gone. So the championship tended to be over a lot quicker. Teams were usually playing 2 games and they were out. And that wasn't right on these teams. But the reality is that by introducing the Tailteann Cup and by introducing more eyes to the John McDonagh Cup. Like, the John McDonagh Cup has improved in quality. Like, let's be honest, when the competition was put in, 10 years ago, it was a case of whoever got relegated was bouncing straight back up to the championship immediately after hockey and everybody, be it Antrim, Westmeath, Laois. They just immediately bounced back up, having annihilated everybody in the division. Now it's different. Now the quality is actually very good. The John McDonagh final between Antrim and Kerry in particular stands out to me as being a cracking game. So there's more pressure to show these games. And they don't really actually have a bigger task force to show these games than they did before. Sky Sports, people are like, well, Sky Sports, well, GAA Go got all of Sky Sports. Really? I mean, do GAA Go actually have that many cameras? Do they actually have that much funding? And the money issue does come into it. Now, I'm not for any 1 second saying that they've nailed it. They haven't. There's mistakes made there. But this is a very tricky assignment at the same time. It's very tricky to be able to say, what is the best way to show all the games? What is the best way to A, run a business and get the most amount of money in so that you can cover the games to the best of your ability, but then B, to make everybody happy, which at the same time we know is an impossible task in its own right.
I'll just look at the fixtures again now. I'm looking at the weekend of April 27th and April 28th. I can count 5 games being shown on GAA Go. Imagine the outrage that weekend.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely, at top of the pops in many ways. You look at the games being shown, the 5 games are Antrim against Wexford in the Leinster Hurling Championship. You would argue Armagh against Down in the Ulster semi-final. No offence to Antrim or Fermanagh in that case. Cork against Clare in the Munster Hurling Championship, and the 2 Leinster football semi-finals, which could be involving the likes of Meath, Kildare, Dublin, all them. So that's 5 games. I don't know how many are going to be shown on RT. They usually show about 2 on Sunday. So that's 2 games on RT and 5 games on GAA Go. Imagine the outrage that weekend. There will be a lot of us.
No, there certainly will be. And but what is the solution here? How can we push this forward? What can change?
I think put maybe half the GAA Go games actually free to air.
Like on YouTube live streams, like
on YouTube or something like that, yeah, because you can't expect, well, we can, because we have jobs as journalists and YouTubers and stuff like that, and obviously there's young people that have jobs and things like that, and yeah, they could pay for GAA Go away, but I'm thinking about the families that are at disadvantage and love GAA, or the old age pensioners. How are they going to pay for GAA Go as well? And another thing as well, restaurants, clubs and societies as well, they won't be able to stream GAA Go to put it on the TV. I know it because I worked in a restaurant before. They only, stream RT games or Sky Sports or TV3 or Virgin Media, should I say, or TG4. They only put that on the TV. They don't have the resources to put GAA Go games on the TV. So imagine Cork restaurants at that stage next year. It'll be absolutely manic in its own right. And even another thing that I found a problem with GAA Go, it's not the analysts or anything like that, or the payment for myself. The problem is you couldn't cast games to the TV last year. I don't know, was that just me? But you couldn't do it, which was kind of a shame, I thought. And something needs to be fixed there in general. But yeah, I just think it's too many games on GAA Go. Even Jackie Tyrrell said on the Sunday game this year, when he was on with Donald Cusack was talking about the promotion of hurling in that episode. A lot of people remember that Sunday game in particular. He was saying that it's so early in the GAA Go journey that he questions why there's so many games being shown on the channel itself. And I'm looking at the main thing last year was so many games being shown in the round robin series in Munster in hurling, and in football, it was too many games being shown in the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship group stage. You remember Mayo Kerry and Galway Tyrone, Mayo Cork, Dublin Kildare, Cork and Kerry, all being shown on GAA Go. And to be honest, there was very few games on RT compared to that. I'm just counting the amount of games for the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship being shown. So there's 2 on May 18th. So that's 2, 4, 6 of the group stage. So that's 8. 9 games of the group stage being shown on GAA Go, plus the 4 preliminary quarterfinals, plus the 2 quarterfinals on the Saturday. Now, Seamus, do you think that's fair?
No.
Fair? It's not fair on the ordinary GAA head in many ways. And I know old people that don't even have Wi-Fi boxes. How are they going to watch these games as well?
Well, that's it. And it's one of those things of moving too quickly for people, especially elderly people who won't be able to watch these games now, and definitely sort out the fact that set it up in pubs and set it up in restaurants and stuff like that. That should be priority number one, because that can then make sure that people know where the game can be shown. And for example, a GAA club can put out like, hey, we're showing the game on down in the clubhouse if you want to come watch it. And that would actually be a great thing for GAA clubs as well, because it would get people into the club bars, it would get people into the club restaurants, and it would, be a great contributor to those GAA clubs, and that would help grow the clubs and help grow the game. And I think GAA Go should be kind of trying to facilitate that. The other thing on top of it is that like the free to air stuff, that definitely, there should be more games that are free to air. And look, with RT, I've always thought that like they're very selective about the games that they show. They'll show 1, 2 tops, and I'm thinking like, for the life of me, I can't work out. RT News now has its own channel that is on TV.
Yeah.
Why isn't GAA Go a channel on TV? Why isn't it? Like, I never understood why they didn't just have a GAA channel, like something that the whole country could tune into, because it is the national game. It's the largest sporting organization in this country. There are well over 1,000 clubs in the country. Everybody plays this game. It's the largest amateur sporting organization in the world. So you cannot tell me that there wouldn't be interest in watching that. And if you tell me that RTE are benefiting from putting on the likes of Fair City and Home and Away on their main channel for the entire population to watch, you cannot tell me that there wouldn't be a benefit to having GAA Go on the telly as a permanent TV channel. And I know what you'd be thinking, well, what are they going to do when there's no games on? What are they going to do when... Look at the amount of channels like Liverpool TV, Man United TV. Look, do you think there's a Man United and Liverpool game on every week? They fill the content with other programs, with replays of matches in the past, with debate shows, preview shows, review shows, deep analysis shows. Not only would that make the content in the general package of the GAA better, but it would grow the game exponentially, because you would get more journalists in, more reporters, more pundits, more people who could give their opinion. And on top of that, you could give the people who are watching and the fans who are watching a better voice and a better representation, because I think that's another thing that you hit the nail on the head there really, really well, is when you listen to people that are GAA fans. One thing I'm getting is such frustration at like having no say whatsoever in this. For Cork fans, it must be so frustrating to just be told, oh yeah, if you want to watch this, you're going to have to pay for it. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, that doesn't seem like the game that it was 15 years ago, where Cork fans would have been guaranteed that they could watch their team take part in the Munster Hurling Championship, that were guaranteed that if they got Kerry in the Munster Football Championship, that they were going to be able to watch it for free. That's changed now a lot, and with no say from the fans. And I feel like when they're planning the fixtures, if there was a representation for the audience, that would be pretty good. I don't see what the general problem with that would be, because then somebody surely would have flagged it and been like, hey, why is Cork always on behind the paywall? And then maybe we would have been able to work towards something. But for me personally, to wrap that all up, I just can't for the life of me figure out why GAA Go hasn't just become its own thing. And I have a very good comment in here from Gavin O'Reilly. He says, maybe Virgin Media should show some games, because in defense of RT, there are so many games to show. That RT GAA channel is a pretty good idea also, though. I appreciate that, Gavin. But yeah, that's a very good idea. And look, with Colin Parkinson's show, maybe that's hinting that maybe Virgin Media are starting to, dip into a bit of GAA coverage. But in response to that, what do you make of my little tangent there?
I think it would be an excellent idea, to be fair. And to be fair to GAA Go, I know we'll credit them for this point. They are, according to the Examiner article, they are doing a preview show, which RT aren't doing. So that's something that is very
Matthew,
good.
I would take GAA Go as they are and put them on the TV channel. I love GAA Go, their coverage. I watched it. I really enjoyed it. The challenges for the pundits are a fantastic idea. At the end of the game, when they got all the pundits to go out to the 21-yard line and see if they could kick a point, like, that's really enjoyable to watch. So I would take it as they are and put them on the TV. and then get the money from sponsorships. You look at, for example, Dublin GAA. Dublin GAA do not charge the fans to watch the games. They don't charge the fans to watch the games on the YouTube live streaming, but the money comes in through other means so that we can put on the show that the fans can watch.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it, in fairness. And another thing that's frustrating for a car point of view, the car club championship was put behind a paywall as such as well with Rebels Online. You had to pay like a fee for that as well, and it's just too much money to fork out for car GAA fans in general. And I think it would be an excellent idea that you mentioned there to put it on the channel with RT News Now and stuff like that, or even an RT Sports channel. I think that would be a really, really good idea. So, like, for example, like, say in May, for example, the Eurovision Song Contest is usually on in May. Anybody who's a fan of the Eurovision Song Contest, you could watch the Eurovision Song Contest, even though Ireland are the final. Once again, you could watch that at 8 o'clock on RTE. But you could watch, let's say, Clare Waterford in the Munster Hurling Championship live on the RT Sport channel.
Yeah.
That's an idea. You know, that is a general idea. And I agree with you with you look at MTU TV, you look at Liverpool TV. Like, I even see Virgin Media, I just click through the channels, I see Virgin Media actually show a full replay of the game between Liverpool and Lask Linz in the Europa League. To fill content, to fill the schedule on Virgin Media 4 or 5, I think it was.
But that's it. Content. Remember the AFLW Super Final? They said, okay, for anybody who missed it, we're going to show it again at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Now imagine if the GAA said, okay, the All-Ireland group stages, we showed Kildare versus Mayo as our live game, but if you are from Clare or if you're from Roscommon and you want to watch them two play against each other in the second game, we have that on at 5 o'clock immediately after. It's not live, but it is the full game with commentary, pundits, the whole lot. That would be pretty good.
The thing is, well, TG Carr do something very similar to virtual coverage. They did it last week with the club championship between, and we'll discuss that in a sec, between Rory O'Cushadall and Shot Neal. They didn't have it live, but they put it live on the TG Carr player, I think it was. But then they put it to full coverage after the game between Clonlara and Ballygunner. Again, content. And that's what we're crying out for with the GAA community. And I definitely agree with you on RT. They're not going to benefit by putting on... Well, the Late Late Show is getting better. I will say that. Patrick Kilty is a very good presenter. I will say that. But they're not benefiting from the likes of, I don't know, repeats of Top Gear or Fair City or, well, Nationwide's a good program as well. I'm trying to think. Neighbours or... They are not benefiting from those programs. Nobody is tuning in to watch those programs. Now, all I hear about, for example, from Fair City, you know, people that watch Fair City, it's almost like a comedic act rather than a soap nowadays. They'd rather watch Emmerdale.
It's so bad.
They'd rather watch Emmerdale and Coronation Street, definitely. And they're on Virgin Media.
Their acting is like, oh no, someone broke into my house. What am I going to do? Like, it's tragically bad. There's no emotion behind it. They're reading lines or memorizing lines. And look, we're not here to bash that. It's personally, I don't mind it if it's for you, but I see it as the Sharknado type, where you'd watch it to kind of almost just because it's that bad, so you can kind of laugh at it. But I genuinely just think that that RTE should stop this act of trying to juggle GAA content and normal content. Stop trying to balance it all between two channels. How about use the fact that you're the national station to say, hey, just like we did with RTE News Now, for anybody who wants to be depressed 24/7, we're going to make a sports channel for anybody who wants to watch sport. You don't even have to have GAA content on it all the time. We haven't even touched on that. How about you show the Katie Taylor fight? How about you show the Olympics? How about you show the football team? That would be pretty good. Irish Sports Channel.
League of Ireland is another one.
Yeah.
And this is Gaelic games, but League of Ireland is not showing enough on RTE either. And soccer fans have the right to complain as well. And I would say maybe show more URC action, United Rugby Championship. or
Yeah.
even All Ireland League, or even cross country. Show that on a sports channel or whatever, and you could show your normal content like your home and aways, your fair cities, your late shows, your nationwides. Show them on RT, on the main channels, RT1, RT2. Unless there's a major sporting event on, like Irish international soccer games, Kerry and Dublin in the football, Kilkenny and Tipperary in the hurling or whatever. But any other sporting content that RT do not want to put it on the sports channel or a GAA Go separate channel. That's your problem solved.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do, but why aren't RT doing it?
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. I think that like there must be something blocking it that we don't know about. There must be people who don't want it to happen, or there must be systems in place that prevent that from happening. Because when you look at it, for example, in terms of business, it would just be a pretty good business move to have your own channel 24/7 showing your games. That would just be fantastic for the sports.
And another thing actually, where between the lady sports as well, there was announcements in the All Stars for the LGFA the other night that every single game of the LGFA All Ireland Championship would be shown on TG Car. What an idea! Fair play to TG Car for that. Applause to the brim for that. But what RT could do with the sports channel as well, show more camogie games. Show all of the All Ireland camogie games to promote camogie as well, not just hurling and football. A lot of things can be done with this. So
no, that's it. Again, it's one of those things as well that as the charter gets drawn up and as the games keep pushing, rightfully so, the camogie and the football should be shown just as much as the male players. Absolutely should be. And what I can see is that they can't even handle one side. So don't even imagine what's going to happen when the second side starts getting, rightfully so, guaranteed as much exposure time. Then can you imagine how many games are going to be behind the paywall? Like, I mean, some people probably won't even get to see their own county play. So in my head, this not a solution. It doesn't have one solution. It's not like if the GA whipped up a GA channel that all of a sudden everything will go away and everybody would be delighted, because then there would be the fight to have the live slot. And there would be the fight to be like, well, okay, well, which game actually gets shown live? But the reality is that having a channel that is dedicated to showing GAA content or sports content that puts on all the GAA matches for us to see is really, really good. And you could bring in the money through advertisements, through sponsorships a lot by doing that. You could. And that would, benefit the sport in general. We would be able to show the games. TG Carr can do it with the ladies' game. So I don't understand why across the board RT, who have far more resources than TG Carr, can't do the same. And look, with GAA Go, they're bringing in a hell of a lot of money, I would imagine, from the subscription service. And look, as I said, GAA Go's coverage is fantastic. Fantastic. But for the life of me, as I said, I can't figure out why they haven't just said, you know what, GAA Go is brilliant. Let's actually take these guys. Let's, put Darren Maloney, Ger Canning, Marty Morrissey, Joanne Cantwell, Donal Ogue, all the pundits. Let's put them into GAA Go, combine them together, put them over as their own channel. Any GAA stuff is on this channel now. It would be brilliant. It would be awesome. And then show as much Fair City as you like on RTE2. And the GAA will have their own thing. And to be honest, that will probably benefit the arts industry, the music industry, the entertainment industry as well. Because say if you're someone in this country that has not the slightest interest in the GAA or in sport, and then when the summer hits, you know that every Sunday afternoon is going to be taken up by a GAA match. Well, maybe that won't be the case anymore. And then GAA fans will all be watching RTE Sports Now or RTE GAA. Be awesome. It'd be really, really good.
It would be, yeah. And what RT could do that with that as well, with sports content. I'd love to, do it with other content as well. You could do it with, let's say, RT Entertainment, RT Lifestyle. You could have them kind of channels as well as sister channels.
Yeah,
that would be brilliant too. And it would benefit everybody. have this. Like, I can feel the pain of people watching. They don't want, like, people not interested in GAA or not interested in sport whatsoever. They don't want to watch Roscommon and Galway on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Simple as. They don't. They want to watch something different. So what this could enable people to do, the RT Sport channel or RT Entertainment or RT Lifestyle, they could switch over to that channel and watch something else.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of things done with it. They're really good. And I think that was a brilliant idea by yourself, Seamus. So pat in the back for yourself.
Appreciate it. That's a good idea as well with the RT Entertainment, RT Arts, RT Music. Like, you look at it, you're thinking, well, they managed to make. You look at Sky, for example. They take a leaf out of their book. Sky Cinema, Sky Sports, different things for everything. And I feel like the GAA and RTE should try and come to some arrangement. Maybe not for 2024 because it seems to be pretty much done. But 2025, come on, man! Like, you've got so much time to try and work something out. A TV channel that just around the clock shows all the games so that every fan knows, okay, that, like, say, for example, because let's be honest, GA kind of works a lot more similar to every other sport than we like to think. You have your big box office draws. Your counties with your big population are going to be the ones that pull in the most numbers. So when RTE gets a Dublin, a Cork, a Galway, a Limerick, Kerry, Mayo, Tyrone, they're thinking, okay, this one, Armagh as well are brilliantly supported. I could go on. But when they get someone like that, they think, right, this one is the one that we're going to put on TV. If there's a Leinster preliminary round or a Connacht preliminary round between London and Galway, where you know Galway are going to smash them to bits, I don't necessarily blame them for going, you know what, we're not going to put this one out. But if you were to say, and I feel like every Galway fan will understand that if Mayo Roscommon is on the same weekend, that, look, they're going to show Mayo Roscommon, but then Galway fans could go, oh, but RTE Sports Now or RTE's GAA channel, GAA Go, that's going to show Galway versus London live at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll just get up and watch it then. And like, that would be a lot more attainable to draw in the fan base rather than something that the elderly people in our society won't be able to figure out how to work out. Like, they can barely turn the telly on, let alone pay for a subscription online. So I think we should think about that. And if not think about that, the least we can do is to make it more accessible for the elderly people that can get to their local GAA club or pub or restaurant and watch the game live on the TV there. That should be something that we're pushing towards, because the way it is sadly, we're leaving people behind by doing it this way. Yeah,
exactly. So, and the GAA should take a leaf out of this video's book or anything like that. And even we did a video.
Remember, I was going to say, this time last year, wasn't it?
I think it was January. I definitely was over in Scotland. So it's the start of this year that you put up this video. To be fair to you, you had that.
I could put this up again. I could put that up again. Only the people that saw it would know.
No, we really wouldn't be. No, and it's an excellent video, to be fair to you, but more content. And we're just not seeing enough content, in my opinion. Not even. I thought when RT announced for the championship this year that they were putting up highlights, I was thinking, okay, this could be similar to Sky Sports, where they put up Premier League highlights, 2 minutes, 3 minute packages. They didn't put it up on YouTube. They put it online where nobody finds it.
Yeah, no, like, the way that Sky Sports do it is really, really good. The way that instantly the Premier League matches are out, because Sky Sports had a real issue with people, getting highlights of games. You remember, like, the mad commentary that would be over it and all, the millions of different pictures that would pop up on the screen and everything, like the different tabs that would pop up over the video while you're watching it and everything. But it was free highlights of the game, and they were trying to block people. They were stripping down channels, trying to stop them from showing the highlights immediately after, because they thought it was hurting their business. And now they put out all of the highlights immediately. It's crisp, it's professional, the shot is really good, the highlights are really crisp, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not very time consuming. Like, I know myself, I go on a binge of watching all the Premier League highlights like immediately after. Like on Monday, I'll go, okay, I'll watch all 10 highlights here. And it takes, 20 minutes out of my day to watch them all. And why the GAA doesn't go Allianz League, because people are going to put them up, and then why they don't just go, okay, here's all the Division 1 highlights, all the Division 2 highlights, Division 3 highlights, Division 4 highlights from the GAA's official YouTube channel. Everyone will watch them. Everyone will watch them. And all on top of that, if like that makes them money, which like at a basic level, that brings in more sponsorships, more money, which then could lead to them being able to cover more games.
Yeah. And that's the way it was. And people actually, they don't watch matches. I think this might be a particular reason why the GAA aren't doing this as well, Seamus. It's because you see with Sky Sports Premier League highlights, a lot of people watch it, including me and you. Like, we're so invested with it. But that in turn results in nobody watching Match of the Day, for example, on BBC. Maybe a lot of people won't watch the Sunday game then. So maybe RT are kind of thinking of that kind of way too. But just for the consumer, I think it would be an excellent idea. It'd be an absolutely brilliant idea. I heard Joanne Cantwell talk about this on Colin Parks' podcast. It was behind the paywall again, ironically. But I listened to that podcast. It was actually very, very good. And she was talking about how she understands the complaints from fans that Division 3 and Division 4 games aren't shown. And she's just basically saying there's just not enough cameras to get around to games. And that was in February, March around that time. I was thinking, okay, that's kind of an excuse. But then at the end of the league campaign, she says about loads not being shown against, I think it was Cork or Dublin or whatever, in RD. And she said RD doesn't have the venue to fit TV requirements. And I'm like, why? TG Carr put up highlights on Monday night. You know, that's just a terrible excuse, really. I like Joanne Cantwell as a presenter. I think she's underrated in many ways. But to say that on Allianz League Sunday about a country, that's just degrading. It really is. That's another thing with content as well.
Let's have it honest there. The truth was they didn't expect Louth to be as good as they were last season. They expected Louth to get thumped in every single one of their games and get relegated back down to Division 3. So they thought, we're not going to schedule any cameras to go down there. Like the camera schedules, there's not a doubt in my mind, the camera schedules definitely happened months in advance. So they definitely weren't planning to send cameras down for that game. And then all of a sudden, Louth are pushing for promotion and they're thinking, oh, like, what are we going to do here? And sometimes you can't turn something around that quick. And look, I don't blame them for that. Louth caught me by surprise. I tipped Louth to go down. Like Mickey Hart worked miracles with them last season. It's a really, really tricky one. And look, I do agree. I watched Sean Kavanagh talking about it when he's talking about the analysis. The reality is there is a lot of games. So I'm looking at it thinking, at this point, who doesn't want to be a pundit for RT that's a former player? Like, who doesn't want to be? So the reality is I would look at it and go, okay, they should almost tier it with their pundits and go, okay, here's the top ones. Here's our top pundits. Here's the guys and girls that are going to be covering the All-Ireland finals. So here's our Sarah O'Donovan's. Here is our Lee Keegan's, Sean Kavanagh's. They're going to be covering the finals. Second tier, these are people that are recently acquired, people that are looking to make a name for themselves. So people like David Tubridy, like people like Grace Walsh, people that are getting into coverage. And at that point, you say, okay, we're going to select you, we're going to put you into groups, and your job is to cover these counties' games. So if you're recently retired from Dublin, like a Paddy Andrews, you cover the Dublin games. If you're recently retired from Kerry, Mark O'Shea, you cover the Kerry games. And then when Kerry are playing, you are their pundit on the TV.
Yeah.
So that every county has one kind of dedicated or team covering their games. And that would make the analysis really, really good.
I think it would.
It has in depth.
And another thing as well, actually, I was at the Cork and Clare game last year, and what Paul Flynn actually put up on Twitter was very smart of them. And a lot of people ridiculed Paul Flynn for his comments on David Clifford. Before that comment, which was probably one of for reading in the years or whatever. Before that, he was an excellent pundit. I think he was very, very good and very good addition to RT. But what he did on Twitter, actually, he asked around and said, anybody at the Cork and Clare game, please give me a synopsis of the game. And basically, I replied to him with my stats of the game and my probably, analysis of the game in my own words itself. And Paul Flynn used that feedback to go into his analysis for the Sunday game, and it ended up very well. And I actually think that was smart of him. He actually follows me on Twitter, fair play to Paul Flynn and all that, but
it could be dangerous though at the same time. That could be dangerous because you could get false information and people giving you wrong score lines and everything like that.
Possibly, yeah, but like, wasn't it really smart of him? Good initiative.
I definitely think have your trusted people to give you information. And I think, look, when you released the list of all the people that have been on your podcast, like obviously past 100 episodes recently, obviously big congrats again. But that you immediately identified the counties that you haven't had anyone from. And like that's it, because it is important in the GAA to have a friend in each of the counties. That if anything really pops off in any of those counties, like for example, like if you wanted to cover, if anything happened in Leinster or in Dublin, I'd imagine you'd ask Aaron or myself or Luke first, like what's going on. If anything happened down in Munster, you're the first person I'd turn to go, what's going on down there? Like that type of thing is important and it meshed in the GAA. So I feel like for pundits, they should get all the help they need, because Sean Kavanagh talking about the amount of games that they have to cover was very, interesting to listen to, because you're seeing it from the other side. And the reality is they know a hell of a lot about the GAA and they're really, really good at what they do. I just think that having a dedicated GAA channel would make the problems a hell of a lot easier. And as I said, like it's something that we will talk about again. There's no question about it.
Yeah, definitely so. And I suppose we have to move on to the games itself, because a lot of time you take up on this.
There's games on. The games actually happened this weekend. So yeah, no, look, I'll put that out as an individual video. That there's no doubt about it. That deserves its own spotlight. And obviously I could chat about that with you all day, but I know that we will talk about that again, probably very, very soon. On top of that, look, while we're on it, real quick, last thing while we're on it, club games I'd also love to be shown, and a club Sunday game. Last thing. Now, anyway,